Wriggles clear. Might just get the chip, and he does. He scores! Oh, what a great goal! He's done it!
Can I ask him? A few months back, BBC Four's reruns of Top of the Pops had got to the phase where you were on every other week. Did you happen to watch them, or is it something you've seen a lot or not interested in?
Oh yeah, of course. I've got it on Series Link on the Planet. I didn't actually see many of them as they were replayed, but obviously remember doing them at the time. And at the time, I made DVDs of all our TV appearances, as you do. So yeah, I think we appeared 4 times in 1 year in '92, maybe, which was good. Then around the time. But towards the end of '92, it had gone. Top of the Pops had gone very band related, and when we did a song called Generations on that program was Manic Street Preachers, EMF, Happy Mondays, and us. So to have 4 bands and 4 not exactly not exactly out and out pop bands as well. It's quite we had quite a laugh hanging out in the BBC canteen, or BBC bar, I should say, with the EastEnders staff. So yeah, it was good, because in those days Sky was up and running, but there was nowhere near as many channels as there are now. And I think later, just with Jules Allen, began round about '92, which we did the second series, I think I remember rightly. So there weren't many music programs you could actually be on TV, and I always graded any singles that we did. If we managed to make it to Top of the Pops, which we did, we had 13 top 40s and did Top of the Pops about 7 times, I think.
Wow.
If you got on Top of the Pops, it just made you feel like it was a hit, whatever number it got to in the charts. Top of the Pops, because you're almost guaranteed not to drop out of the charts immediately. You might have stabilised or even gone up, like we did with This Is How It Feels and Dragging Me Down. We did Top of the Pops with those 2, and it went up, the single. But you never did it 2 consecutive weeks, so you had to hope that it went up on the 3rd week, like it did with This Is How It Feels, and we got another chance to do Top of the Pops. So we did Top of the Pops twice with This Is How It Feels. So it's good times, and I do miss Top of the Pops because it is a real good snapshot of what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
In popular culture. And but it's when you get there, it's tiny. It looks kind of like quite a big arena or like a big music venue that has 2,000 people, and it's tiny. There's like 3 or 4 stages. There's 20 people in the audience and loads of cameramen, pushing the fans around. And when you do it, you have to. In the old days, you had to apply to be in the audience. So when we did it, there was never any Inspirals fans in the audience. They might have pretended they were Inspiral fans, but you got a letter saying, come to the Top of the Pops on the 13th of March 1990, and when you applied to be on, like the previous summer, you obviously wouldn't have a clue who'd be on by the time your invite came around. But good times though. We met some good people there and some interesting people. Because when we did, we had a single, I Want You, in '94, which we did with Marquis Smith of The Fall.
Yeah.
The producer didn't like the way Marquis Smith was singing it because it was live vocals, and he wanted Marquis Smith not to be on the programme. But we said, you've got to have him on. He's a Manchester legend. So they persevered with him and had him on. But he was trouble all day. He's looking for a fight all day. He had a bit of a ruck with Elvis Costello because he was on that programme. And there's some spat with him and Elvis Costello, which went back to the 70s, and he picked it up again. In Elvis Costello was having his makeup done, and Marquis Smith saw him, and he was slagging him off, saying, "You were shit in the 70s, and you're still shit now." We had to manhandle Marquis Smith, even though he was a guest in our band. We had to manhandle him around stop him offending people all day long. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But it's good, and that performance of us doing I Want You with Marquis Smith, it is a legendary bit of TV, in what you might call in popular culture, I think.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, let's any more questions as we pop back? I've got a few other things I just want to go through in the magazine. Before we do, obviously, tickets are available. Although they're going fast.
Yes.
They're going fast, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So get them while they're hot. And obviously we've got the neighbourhood weekender as well. 27th of May. So I guess that's after after the tour's finished. Yeah.
Yes,
so-
we've got a few festivals coming up, which we'll be
Right.
announcing over the next few weeks, either side of Christmas. So yeah, there'll be a couple of things announced as well. So yeah, it's exciting. There's so many things going on these days. So many festivals over the summer. You know, compared to how it used to be in 1990, back in the day when we were having all these hits. We did the Reading Festival, which was just in Reading. It wasn't Reading and Leeds; it was just Reading. And we headlined on the Saturday night with, I think the Pixies were on the Sunday, and it was kind of quite a rocky, gothy kind of rock event rather than being an indie dance thing over two separate sites. It was just one festival that was probably a third of the size it is now.
Yeah.
So it's times change, and it moves on, which is good. It's good.
Okay. Lots to look forward to.
So I was just going to say, Graham, well, we've got that picture up there. You've got the cow logo, and did you think that you would still be using that logo like 30 odd years on? It's something that you just see that picture and it's Inspiral Carpets.
Yeah, I think some things just stick. Don't they? It's something Clint drew. He drew it onto a T-shirt when we're on a magazine program called The Other Side of Midnight, which was just on
Tony
Granada
Wilson's show.
TV with Tony Wilson, yeah. And Clint performed on that program with this homemade shirt on, which had a painted on a black T-shirt the cow's head and saying "moo," and then a few people noticed it, and then it then became our logo, and we sold thousands of T-shirts with it on. There was no planning behind it. It's just stuck. I'm one for more typefaces, like the logo on the left hand side, the way the band's written. That's kind of, it's just a typeface, but there's no capital letters. That was my big thing when I used to work in a printers before the band took off, and I did all the sleeves and the posters in the early days, and just really into a distinct way of how type looks. So that band name, the way it's written, and the cow's head, they'll probably stick with us now till we'll probably never revamp them. It'll always be that, because, like you say, it's very distinctive.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to say. You mentioned that the t-shirts, because around about that time, the early 90s, it was like yourself and James. It was sort of synonymous. All those t-shirts that you would see, the James logo, and the font that they had as well, and Come Home and Inspiral Carpets and the Cool as Fuck and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You saw that around the clubs when you would go out at the weekend.
Yeah, it's a very, and Stone Roses as well. They're
John Squires.
those shirts. So it was, and Happy Mondays as well, because Happy Mondays artwork was done by two brothers, Matt and Pat, who had a unit above near to where we had an office in Manchester, and there were two guys they were always off it, but doing like these mad designs. And the cover of the Happy Mondays album, Bummed, is a picture of Sean Ryder. That's done by them in like pastel crayon sort of thing. And they had a very distinct style, very colourful, and it just fitted hand in hand with the acid kind of rave scene that was obviously gathering momentum at that point.
Great stuff. Okay, let's jump back into the magazine. So we have this is the centerfold. It's part of a 4-part World Cup wall chart. So you can sort of see it with the blue line, that it's the bottom left hand corner of the wall chart. So you put it together. Very colourful. I love World Cup wall charts. I mean, I've got the 1982 Radio Rentals World Cup wall chart framed and on my wall downstairs. That's how much, because I've said this before, the 82 World Cup was the one for me, and the Radio Rentals World Cup wall chart just was very, it was something that I had and I remember, and I spent a lot of time with during that World Cup, because it was free for a start, so we never had to pay for it. But just getting it just it's like it's probably one of my most prized possessions, just because of the nostalgic part of it. But yeah, World Cup wall charts like this are just great. I love the stadiums there as well. Sort of reminds me of the Panini stickers.
Yeah.
From the 82 and 78 and things like that as well, where you would get this little. I mean, and the picture quality would be rubbish. It would be really small and fuzzy, but you know, your imagination transports you there.
Yeah.
And there's the Australia team in there as well.
Yeah.
So your double yellow card there must be in there somewhere.
It'll be in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's who's the East German player? I can't see.
Hans-Jürgen Kreis.
Kreis.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great kit.
That's a great kit, isn't it? That really is a great kit.
It's very. I mean, I say it's very strange, but then again, every kit here has them. But not every kit back. Certainly, club kits didn't have badges back then. So you know, I guess it is a little. Maybe all the national teams had the badges first, or more. Across the board, sort of thing, you know. But it's just strange seeing that. Who's that?
I think traditionally as well, lots of teams, the international teams, if you see the old Scotland players from the, early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, they don't have the jersey anymore. They kept the badges. And originally international badges were cut off your international jersey or unstitched and put onto your club jersey.
Right.
So like Queen's Park players, you'll see early Queen's Park pictures, 4 or 5 of them will have a couple of Scotland badges on it, the Scotland Lion on it, because they were internationals. So that's kind of where that came from.
I've never heard that before. I mean, the closest to that was Alan Ruff, who used to wear his international keeper top.
That's right.
Or in fact, the other teams didn't, because he wore the Wales. I think there's a few photographs of him. There's a team photo for Partick Thistle when I'm sure he's wearing the Wales goalkeeper top.
I think he just had
shirts in the game.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
One of the football cards from '77 with Alan Ruff, he's wearing Peter Shilton or Ray Clements, it probably was, his England top in it.
Great, isn't it?
So,
That's great. That's who would have made Scotland's kit in '74? Was it Umbro?
Yeah.
It'll be Umbro, and it's the start. That kit is the start of the classical '78 one, isn't it? It just needs the double diamonds down the side. It's just, it's the start of it.
Yeah.
The Genesis kit.
It's good, cracky kit. Scotland's very dark blue, isn't it? It's almost black, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Black
is that because they had to keep it away from the Rangers blue, not to be anything like the Rangers blue?
It was originally the Queen's Park strip.
All right.
Was it not? I think so. Originally they wore, I think Queen's Park, they would have worn dark strips in 1872 maybe. So because the whole Queen's Park team was the Scotland team. So I think that's probably where that came from.
Right.
Yeah, but it's the red socks, the white shorts, and the dark blue top. It's iconic.
Yeah, it's classic, that, isn't it? Classic.
I must admit, I'm thinking the current France strip looks a lot like a Scotland kit, because it's a very dark
it does
blue.
Same colour.
Yeah.
Right. I've not noticed that. I don't think I've seen France yet, but I like the flags on here. How it lists where the countries have got to in the previous World Cups.
The Zaire flag, great. They're like hand drawn, aren't they? They're fab.
Yeah.
So sort of naive. It's great.
Yeah. And it's good as a kid at school learning about other teams' flags from an international football tournament.
Absolutely.
See, this is one of the things I did. I was talking about this Radio Rentals World Cup wall chart, and I had all the flags all the way around it. And I remember after the World Cup, I then cut out all the flags and played little games with them. So it was like, I was going to say you got your money's worth, but it was a free World Cup wall chart anyway. But, back then, you wouldn't things weren't just discarded. You made the most of them, and you got as much as you could out of it. So that's what I used to do. I don't remember what games I played, but yeah.
When you say Radio Rentals, you mean the TV shop?
Yeah.
That's where you got it from.
Yeah. I actually remember. I can remember going into the shop because I'd heard that they were giving them away, and I assumed they were giving them away sort of with purchases and that. But I just went in and says, "Have you got a World Cup wall chart, please?" And I think I blagged 2 of them, and I was got away, and I was as happy as Larry. I absolutely elated. It was like, yeah, I've got this thing here, and the whole World Cup, I filled it in, and just every detail in it. When years later on, when I got a hold of another copy of it, it was just like, I remember that. On the back, there's all adverts, and I remember that. And it's like, just, we can be overly nostalgic about these things, but you think maybe the equivalent of this for kids these days is like, Nintendo games and things like that, give them the same sort of feeling, that maybe when they look back and they say, oh, I remember that Nintendo 64 game. And
it's different when it's tangible, though, isn't it? It's different. You've actually got it in your hand. It's a big thing. Yeah,
it's more permanent, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah. I think it's more of an indelible impression, I would imagine, as well. Because actually touching it. Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next page. There's bottom right here. Although we can certainly look at the football boots in the bag if you want that Simlam. It's only a make that I'm aware of after doing the magazines. I don't remember Simlams when I was younger. But it's apparently endorsed by Jim Platt, John Samuels, I think that's who you mentioned earlier on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like a great fish.
Yeah. John Roberts of Birmingham, David Cross of Coventry, and Jeff Merrick of Bristol City. They don't look the most comfortable in the world. Although, to be fair, round the ankle part, it does look a bit.
Nice cushion bit round the ankle.
Yeah.
I think I might have had a pair of them in something like 76, 77 maybe, yeah. I can see that logo on a box. I have a feeling I might have had them, but
it's got a Gola feel to it, doesn't it? It's got a kind of Gola feel.
Yeah. And that cushion bit, I could almost smell the leather of that cushion bit around the ankle. Like
Munich 74.
Yeah. If I did have some, the box will still be at my mum's. She won't have thrown it out.
Brilliant.
It'd be all full of curtain rail accessories.
Box of broken dreams.
Yeah. All Ruben Ayala's fault.
Brilliant. So the bottom right here, Scotland's top
Rod.
pop fan. So we've got basically it's Rod Stewart and Dennis Law, and Dennis Law is wrapped in a Scotland flag and sporting very similar haircuts, I would say.
Yeah, of course.
Brilliant.
I wonder if Dennis knew at that point that he'd be knocking it on the head that summer.
Yeah. You wonder.
I think he did. I've read a book recently about the 74 World Cup, and I think he did sort of. And I might have actually read his autobiography as well recently, and I think he did have in his mind that this was it.
Yeah, I mean, good place to go out, but I think that goal against United probably finished him off, didn't it? Because he looked regretful, didn't he? Does any of you know, was Rod Stewart is actually any good at football?
Yeah, he was a very good player. Yeah, he was a very good player. I think there's quite a lot of footage of him with the 78 team. I think he trained with them quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And he ran a Hollywood Celtic football club as well, didn't he?
All right.
So he trial at Brentford.
He was
Did
he?
Yeah.
Because he always never shy of having his picture took in football gear. Somebody like Liam Gallagher, you can imagine not being not very good at football, but Rod is.
Rod is a player, yeah.
Yeah, good to know.
I bet you one of his big regrets at these, the Sky things where it's the famous people play against the ex-footballers, or it's a mix of whatever. I bet one of his big regrets is that wasn't there when he was physically fit enough to do it.
He was so wealthy, he did it himself. He used to fly everyone out to Hollywood and all plays because he had a football pitch in his back garden in Hollywood. Right. And now he's done the same. Is it Berkshire or somebody is now, and he's got a full-size football pitch and ground and changing rooms at his house as well. All Celtic done. I think it was great.
Yeah. That's how you do it, isn't it? Though, if you've got that wealth and those connections, that's how you do it. Let's move on. So we've got
the story of how he came to support Celtic.
Go on.
Because apparently when the Faces were playing the Apollo, and Jock Stein and one of the players chapped his hotel door and said, "Come and train with us."
Is that right?
And he said that was why he started supporting Celtic.
Oh, brilliant.
Just
Brilliant.
for the sake of Graham, their chap is to knock. Okay.
Oh,
that's
right,
it,
yeah.
'cause- yeah. That's one. It's like clap as well. If you give a dog a clap, it means a completely different thing down in England than it does in Scotland.
You get
What
jailed
does
for
clap
that.
mean then in Scotland? A crack?
A clap. So a clap is when you pet the dog. You give it a wee clap.
Oh, right. That's called clapping.
Yeah.
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 I never knew that. Two people who played for United here, McCalliog and McQueen, but Gordon McQueen's
Yeah.
currently very ill. Have you heard about him?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not so
yeah.
well at all.
Yeah. It doesn't sound good at the minute, but you know.
No.
And again, it's that. What always strikes me, apart from the sort of memories of him, is in the Scotland strip, is the Leeds United Admiral kit again, isn't it? With
Oh
McQueen?
yeah, classic. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jim I've met a couple of times as well. He's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy. I did a sort of live show with Jim as well. What a career! What a fascinating career he had as well. You know, it's a cracking picture of him as well. That old sort of yellow and blue kit.
Yeah, it's an unusual Manchester United.
Yeah. It's almost like a sort of Nottingham Forest or Arsenal strip.
Yeah. He did the through ball for Bobby Stokes in the '76 World FA Cup final, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah, and scored. Did he score the third goal in Scotland v England, the '67 game?
Yeah, that was his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The second goal or third goal he scored.
Right.
You know, I got him to sign the '67 jersey for me as well, gold pen. I'll go and have a look through my files.
Did you know
a match worn '67 jersey?
No, it was a repro, but I've got a real signature now.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you wouldn't have someone writing on a match worn.
No.
Anyway.
He's really, really nice man.
Yeah.
God McQueen actually started out as a goalkeeper.
Did he?
He was at Clybank as a goalkeeper on trial, but he gave up coming in because it was too far to travel from Kilburnie out in Ayrshire. And I remember that Jim Fallon told me, who played with Clybank for a number of years. He said big God McQueen was in trial as a goalkeeper, and he said about 3 months later, he says we were playing against St Mirren, and he was marking me. And he's like, you were your goalkeeper a few weeks ago.
I just think, you know, was it sliding doors? He could have been Gordon McQueen could have been my hero instead of Jim Gallagher. There
you go. Everybody giving you handshakes with strange fingers. Yes.
But so there's a few interesting. Was it professional ambition or to help Scotland win the World Cup, which I thought was quite a nice, and they probably believed it.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, but they had some great players in. You know, throughout the '70s, as Scotland national team.
Yeah.
Just looking at that reminds me of the. I'm sure I've seen a picture of Leeds round about this time where they had a massive amount of Scottish players, didn't they?
Yeah. Lorimer, him, Bremner.
Yeah.
Eddie Gray.
Bremner.
Frank Gray. Joe Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like top class Scottish players as well. You know, like first 11 as well.
Yeah. Again, look at the Liverpool teams, things around this time as well. I mean, most teams from the late 1890s onwards were full of Scottish players.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to see how that's changed over the years, you know. But these are guys that played. These were street footballers, you know. It's a bit like when you watch the Maradona documentary or the Messi documentary, how they learned to play football. They learned in favela type places. They learned playing all day in the street.
Yeah.
Kids a lot older than them, rough house football, 20 aside. It's the proper jumpers for goalposting. That is gone. And I think with kids just now, there's almost an expectation that, you know, all football's organised. It's all 11-11. It's the full-size ball, but the kids are all that they have an expectation of tracksuits with their name, their initials on it, and the water bottle with their name. It's just changed.
Yeah.
The whole attitude and nature to football's changed that way. We were producing great players then.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, you know.
Yeah.
With terrible facilities, you know, with just, you know, blazed pitches if you're lucky, you know, ash pitches.
Yeah.
But it created these guys. It created these tough, hardy footballers, and I think that's gone. They could all kick a ball. I mean, there's Gordon McQueen, a goalkeeper that then is is centre half within months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. That's what we'd be doing all winter. And even on a night like this, we playing out till we had to come in on the street,
it's dark.
under street lights.
Yeah.
On a car park. Just making. Playing at one end of the car park where the street road lights were. There'd be the odd tree knocking around on a green that would use as one goalpost. And things like that.
The other one, exactly. Yeah, and that's gone. I don't know whether that's just kids not playing in the streets anymore, where the streets are either busier with cars or it's more dangerous or there's more bad men around. I don't know what it is. It just seems to be we're not going to get that generation of players again unless there's a big change in the way we play football.
I know the photograph you're thinking of, the Leeds. I think they were all wearing tartan scarves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll look that out and I'll share it later on. There was a Man United one running about the same era as well, and I think it was called Manchester United.
That's right.
So. Moving on to the final page here. I just love this.
It's brilliant.
It's a full page colour photo of Giacinto Facchetti of Inter Milan in Italy.
Yeah.
He's shown in action for Italy, but the main photo of him is relaxing on a swing chair with his 2 kids and with his wife behind him, and it's just like, how cool was he, man?
They're absolute film stars, both of them, aren't they?
Aren't they? Yeah. However, he was, of course, beaten in 1967 Scottish Cup final by a certain Celtic. He wasn't looking so cool that day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's him. That there's a photograph of him meeting Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, the day before, isn't it?
And it's like the height difference is incredible.
Yeah.
It's like a film star meeting just a wee boy, and it's like
competition winner.
Yeah, but it's just there. I mean, it looks. I don't know. Is it shiny? His shirt. It certainly looks it.
That was the Billy Connolly thing, wasn't it? How shiny all the Italian and the South American players looked. They're all big, shiny Adonises.
Yeah.
But as Bertie Auld said in the tunnel, "Aye, son, but can they play?"
Yeah, that's good. The thing that's caught my eye about the picture with his 2 kids and the wife behind him is, I don't know if any of you've got experience of swinging seats, but that's not a good place to put your legs if you've got
as a footballer, he's going to break his legs in that.
That's spelling danger for me. That I do like the magazine rack to the side, assuming it's a magazine rack and not a vinyl record rack.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's so 70s. It's lovely.
Yeah,
the shirt as well. The shirt it's just cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm liking it.
And that nice big belt buckle as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, it looks like, I don't know if you can see here, but it looks like a guitar.
Yeah, a guitar or a spider.
Yes, it's certainly his belt buckle.
Oh, his belt buckle, right?
Yeah, it's certainly something. It's not a normal. Well, of course, it's not a normal belt buckle. Look at him.
It'll be Gucci, I think.
Yeah. It's a great picture. That.
It's a great picture.
Yeah.
He was a great player, though, wasn't he? He was magnificent, imperious guy.
Was he a centre half?
Yeah. He was the Inter captain, wasn't he?
I can't remember him, but I'm sure he'd have been a legend, wasn't he, in that team?
Yeah, I played
He must have been a good age in this one. Then he must have been at the end of his career at this in '74. Then
74. I'm trying to think how they went on. How far did they get in '74? Italy? I just can't remember at all.
I think they got to the playoffs, the fourth place playoff.
Did they keep, or did they lose in the semi then to?
No. They were out before then. Actually, they were.
Yeah, it was Poland,
Argentina, Italy, and Haiti. So Group 4 they went out in the first group.
Italy did.
Yeah, they beat Haiti 3-1. They drew 1-1 with Argentina, and they got beat 2-1 by Poland. So Argentina went through with Poland.
Yeah, so really flattered to deceive them in that tournament, didn't they?
Yeah.
Was it in '78 then when they couldn't win at first? They kept drawing, but got out of the group.
That was '82.
Oh, was it '82?
Yeah.
'82. Yeah, it was
they were all draws.
Rossi, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they scored 1 goal in the group stage. It was like 1 each and 2-0 and 0s, I think.
Right. And then Rossi woke up, didn't he, and started banging him in.
And Rossi, had he not been under some sort of cloud? Has he not been
Yeah,
banned?
he got a ban. He got a 2-year ban. I think it was reduced to a 1-year ban, and that was him just back.
Yeah. He broke everyone's heart when he beat that Brazil team, didn't he? That was the thing.
Yeah, very controversial in making the squad, let alone getting in the team, because they took a real gamble on him.
Yeah.
I think it took a gamble on him because they didn't have any strikers, and that proved that in the group games. And then he just came alive when that group of death. He just came alive, didn't he?
Absolutely. What a tournament.
Yeah, good tournament that.
Going back to Facchetti though, he played as left back for Inter Milan from 1960 until 1978.
Oh my God!
How about that for a career?
Yeah,
That's
94
amazing.
caps. Unbelievable.
Yeah, is he still alive?
No, he just died.
2006 he died.
yeah.
In when?
2006.
2000. Yeah.
86.
2006.
Oh, 2006. Yeah. What? Yeah, must have been a good player.
Yeah, wonderful player. Yeah, absolutely.
Was he a one club man as well?
Yeah, it seems to be. And then I think he was chairman of the club as well from 2004 until he died. So, 634 games, 75 goals. Brilliant.
That's amazing.
I've just realised that the photograph there of him playing for Italy is against England.
Yes, England. That's what I was thinking as well. When they were under yellow.
Mick Shannon.
Yeah.
Mick Shannon.
Mick Shannon, yeah.
Yeah, it says Mick Shannon, doesn't it? I can't think what that game would have been, but it would have been around that time.
73, maybe, would it?
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been possibly it'd be a friendly game because we didn't play him in any qualifiers, I don't think. But yeah, we had that yellow, blue, yellow kit, I think. Blue shorts, remember rightly.
There's a friendly from June the 14th, 1973. I wonder if that's the yellow one. It looks like they're wearing yellow in that. Yeah. June 14th, 1973, friendly match, Italy v England.
Does it say where it was played? Because it doesn't look like Wembley.
No, it's not Wembley.
It's away. It must be an away game.
Yeah, it'd be Italy, that one.
But then again, I suppose Italy, I think, moved games around, didn't they? The international games, it wasn't just in a single place.
Yeah.
Italian TV. Yeah, so if you can have a look at it and Google it. It's on YouTube.
All right.
Okay, so that's us at the end of it. So, Graham, thank you very much for joining us on this World Cup special one.
I'm sorry, Graham, I was going to ask you before you go about how Oldham Athletic are doing. How are you getting on supporting Oldham?
Yeah, poorly. We're in the relegation zone of the National League.
Was that a big blow to you, getting out the Football League?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's funny though, the number of people I bump into and they tell me that, that's a tough league to get out of. Name me an easy league to get out of. Going north, anyway. Going south's easy enough to do. But I've been a few times this season, massively impressed by the fitness of the other teams, like Boreham Wood and Chesterfield, who used to be a league team, obviously. But some of these teams, some of the lesser known teams, have got part-time pros, but the fit as fiddles, and we're poor. But we've got David Unsworth as manager now, who used to play for Everton.
Yeah,
right.
We keep signing players, which is gives us a sense of optimism. We must have 30 players, but at the end of the day, we're nearly at the end of. Well, we're nearly halfway through the season, and we're in the relegation zone of the National League. Just we used to be in the Premiership 30 years ago, so drink that in for anybody who thinks your team. We've got Man United fans saying, "Oh, we're rubbish at the moment." Thinking you've got a long way to fall. Yeah, but it's almost like what's the word? It's almost entertaining how bad we are, because we had John Sheridan who come back, who tried to save us last season and didn't, and we went down, and we kept him over the summer and we started off with him. But it was clearly the game's moved on from this once legendary player and a legend manager for us. It's these guys are fit as fiddles. They might only be on 800 quid a week and training twice a week. but they're the fit as fiddles. You know, we've got players on £2,000 a week or probably £5,000 a week, and these guys are fitter than ours. You know,
Yeah.
But interesting. You know, it's not going to be easy. I reckon we'll be down for a few years if, you know, hopefully we'll stay in this league and not go down from here. You know, but you know, at the end of the day, your team's your team, and you stick with them, don't you? But my second team, obviously, Real Madrid and Brazil.
They're doing okay.
I don't have a second team. It's Oldham. It's you know, it's what it is. You know,
actually, well, we've not touched on the World Cup, so we are in the middle of the 2022 World Cup at the moment. So, what's your thoughts so far on England? Obviously, after the first game, you thought, "Yep, we're going to win this. Of course, we're going to win this. We're going to beat everybody by the same scoreline." And then after the USA game, maybe your opinion changed a wee bit.
It didn't change at all. I think beating Iran 6-2 was good, but I thought conceding 2 goals against Iran, that can't be a good thing. That League of Nations, or whatever it's called, European Nations League, we got rolled over by. Did Hungary beat us 4-1?
4-0, yeah.
We were poor, so I'm under no illusion. I was saying all day in the day of the American game, we could lose this if Maguire doesn't concentrate on what he's doing at the back. When they went to sleep and Iran scored in the first game, we were going to lose against America. So they at the bar and we drew 0-0. Be interesting tomorrow night against Wales.
Good game. Yeah.
It's you know, yeah, we did well in the last World Cup and in the last Euros, but you know, I remember, well, the 70s when we didn't qualify for anything, and then when we flattered to deceive in the Beckham and Lampard era. You know, there's no such thing as an easy game these days, is there? And there's, you know, Belgium got turned over yesterday, didn't they, by Tunisia?
Yeah,
it's tough, isn't it? And it is no wonder why Scotland, you know, don't get through in Republic of Ireland and not you just come up against these teams who in my, you know, when I was a kid, these teams, they wouldn't feature in a World Cup or in the Euros, but Iran are the 20th best team in the world, and I thought they made Wales look very, very average the other day.
Yeah.
The 2 goals they scored were brilliant.
Do you think on that somebody said it on the radio the other day, actually, I thought it was a really good point, that the rest of the world seems to have caught up.
Yeah.
So, you know, look at the African teams. There's 3 African wins in 24 hours there, and bags of goals, you know, or just to back to from 3-1 down to come back to 3-3. Today has been an amazing day for some African football as well. So it's the whole world is different. I mean, this is a great for the Middle East teams. They've done particularly well. Obviously, they're used to conditions, but they've all caught up tactically. When you see where they all play, they're all at Bayern Munich, and they're all Borussia Mönchengladbach, and the half of them are in England. I think what England have maybe got to do is look at bringing on, you know, Grealish and Foden. I think that's what everyone's crying out for. And somebody said today, if that was the Brazil team, they'd be in the team.
Yeah, I agree. Team where you could be confident you could have those 2 players play, but definitely. And then you've just got to look at, you know, how many English players have Arsenal got? You know, how many are at Chelsea? You know, Pulisic at the bar for America. You know, he's not even a Chelsea first teamer all the time, is he? You know, he's obviously leading the line for America. You know, it's tough, and you know, it's you know, when we're talking before of all these Scottish players that used to be in our first division, or you know, what is now the Premiership, and those players haven't come down from Scotland because there's no room for them because of all the Italians and French, and you know, even South Americans. You know,
very few.
We've got what you might call a brilliant league, but we don't. I firmly believe we don't have a brilliant national team purely because, you know, of you like some Grealish and Foden are like 2 big flair players, but they don't always play every 90 minutes for City because 1, it's a squad game, and 2, they've got the people, you know, knocking on the door, haven't they?
Exactly, and also they've only had a week together. So because of the way the World Cup is, these managers would normally have their players for 4 weeks. International teams have always suffered with that. Yeah. But for the World Cup, this is really difficult, you know?
Yeah. It must be tough, mustn't it, for somebody like Foden, because he's still a young guy, isn't he? He must just want to play football.
Itching to go. Yeah. There's no point in coming and being on the bench,
No.
Yeah.
But you know, Southgate's probably thinking we need to draw this against America to make sure that, you know, we're there, and maybe Foden will come good against an African team in the next round, should we qualify, where you got some big gangling, you know, 6'7" midfield player. Foden might be able to, you know, get in there, and because he's little and lithe, you know, who knows? But yeah, you know, speaking to you three, do you really miss not being there? You know, is it really?
Yeah, terribly.
And do you think you'd hold your own, like if you were in Wales's position? Do you think you know you'd be as good as Wales? I think you would be personally.
Yeah, there's a much of a sameness, I would say. We had a string of very, very good results for a long time there, and it just popped the boil, I think, at the end. But I think I'm quite hopeful, but it needs another generation of players, I think. I mean, I'm hopeful of, in the next 10 years, of qualifying for the World Cup again. I think they're increasing the numbers for the next one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So we might have more of a chance of getting in there. But with the you know, it's been too long. It's really been too long, and not to be involved in the World Cup, I just find there's a whole generation of young people now who have never had Scotland in the World Cup.
Yeah,
we were lucky.
Like it was for me in the 70s. You know,
there you go. Yeah. I mean,
you know, I don't remember the 70 World Cup where we were tipped to do well because we were in 66. I don't remember it at all. But 70, you know, the pain as a kid of not qualifying for 74 and then 78. It was, and then by the time 82 come along, my personal football career was over by that point. So I'd lost a little bit of interest in it. But it was a brilliant World Cup. Even though we didn't do particularly well, it was a brilliant World Cup.
Yeah, great World Cup. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then at 80, you were there in 86 as well, weren't you? And 90, weren't you?
Mexico 86, 90. Scotland qualified for 5 in a row, and then gone since, really. You know, so that's been very, very difficult. You know, very difficult.
So you did. So just to do it all in order. So you were there in 90. Were you not there in 94 like us? Did you fail to qualify?
No.
That's right. Yeah.
When it was in America.
Yeah.
And back for France 98.
That was.
You were in France 98.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That's it.
Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I know it's shocking.
That even hurts me, and I'm English. You know, that's. I'm being genuine. You know, this just should be there. You know, because you know, to see Wales, from what I saw of Scotland in the Euros and what I've seen in qualifiers, you could hold your own with Wales 100%. I reckon. You know, I think of that guy, the fullback guy from Arsenal,
Tierney.
Yeah. He should be at the World Cup. He just should be there, shouldn't he?
Great player. Yeah.
Great little player, you know.
And
you know, fingers crossed, you know. But yeah, as for us, we if we get to the quarterfinals, you know, life's taught me, you know, every point, every time, every round of matches, we're still in the competition. It's a bonus. Even now, you know, after 2 fairly successful tournaments, you know, I never think we're going to win it. You know, when we went to Wembley for the final, and we got to penalties, and I turned to my wife and I said, "This is it. It don't matter what happens now. We've been at the final. We've drawn with Italy. We've got to penalties. We don't win penalty shootouts. You'll see that we don't win penalty shootouts. And we've had a good day. You know, like whatever happens now is you know, it's just a bonus to be there. You know,
that's you. That's you just preparing yourself, though, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah, I think so. But life's taught me though. What if you win it? You know, like. With Oldham, we're in the Premiership for 3 years, but look where we are now. You know, it don't matter we're in the Premiership for 3 years. We're in the relegation zone in the National League. That's what matters. The now and the future, you know.
Just you remember that, Simon, when it comes to the 1967 European Cup. That's a past. It's gone. It's the one you bring it up again.
Simon's just been getting something. What have you got there, Simon?
Well, there we go. It's a different trophy for you this time.
Oh, look at that.
There you go. There you go. Forza.
What era is that? Is that the 66?
No, that's the 71.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mexico,
nice.
Yeah. That is a nice kit, the Mexico
one. It's a nice kit, isn't it? Yeah. It's the Airtex one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, I'm going to put
Nice.
That back in, my wife wears this and takes it into work to wind everyone up. So there we go. I'll put it back in the shell. That's for you, Graham.
Yeah, that's nice. That very nice.
Right, before we go, I'm going to put everybody on the spot. Okay, so Simon, who do you think is going to win the World Cup this year?
France.
Tom?
I'll say Spain.
Graham?
I was going to say Spain, but I'm going to go off piece. I'm going to go Portugal.
Okay,
Controversial.
I'm going to say England.
You're going to say
No. I'm going to say Spain as well.
Spain. They do look tasty, don't they?
But it's.
I think France will just. I mean, I want Brazil. Everyone wants Brazil to win it. I want Brazil, but
do you know?
I want a Brazil-Argentine final, but it's not going to happen.
Do you know? I don't feel it with Brazil. I don't feel any connection with Brazil, and I don't think I have for a while. I think part of it's Neymar. I don't like Neymar, but even when he wasn't playing.
But they missed him again today. They missed terribly today. So
it's like in my head, I think of the 70s Brazil, even the 80s Brazil.
80s Brazil, especially the 80s Brazil. 1982 Brazil was peak Brazil for me.
It's like they're just not anything. In fact, was it Brazil? They were really struggling to pass the ball out from the back. I think. And they just looked uncomfortable. And it's like Brazil. That's what Brazil are. It's like they just knock the ball about, move about, really comfortable on the ball. And
flying backs.
I don't see it.
Yeah, that's romanticism connected to for me from 1970. 74, they were quite dirty and they'd lost a bit of the skill. But they got it back. 82 when they played yourselves and they won. Is it 4-1? That team, they were just amazing, weren't they?
Yeah. My favourite team of all time.
Yeah, my one memory there for me is 78 World Cup. Nelinho, right back, scored against somebody. It was on TV. He's on the right hand side of the right hand goal, outside of the right foot, bent it in from outside the box.
Yeah,
from going down the side. It was like fairly near the corner flag, but probably level with the edge of the area, but bent it in with the outside of his right foot, hit the post and went in. One of my favourite ever goals.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
Nelinho, great goal.
It was like you never saw the ball move like that.
No. Yeah. Not in those days.
Yeah, and it was like the free kicks that Peru took against Scotland.
Yeah.
The banana kicks and things like that. It was like, there's mention of a few. Like I think Andy Ritchie, the Scottish Andy Ritchie, was known for doing things like that. But it just wasn't something that we witnessed, and I don't think Alan Ruff witnessed them too often either. And we've spoke about this before. To be fair to Ruffy, those were brilliant finishes. What was that, Simon?
That is. I'm just watching the goal now. That's an absolute cracker.
Who was it against, Simon?
Brazil v Italy, third place match in Argentina. Nelinho goal, World Cup '78. What a goal!
Yeah, it's a beautiful goal. What was I going to say about the? In the '78 World Cup, do you remember that machine that Jimmy Hill introduced, where it created a shadow of? They were showing it when Peru scored one of the goals that they bent in, where Ruff was as the ball was coming along. It never caught on, but instead of one ball going into the net, it tracked where the ball was and had like 15 balls going in the net. Like it was something that never caught on to show like the movement of the ball and the players.
Yeah.
It was. I remember seeing it as a kid, thinking, this is interesting, if a little confusing.
Yes, it would have ruined Spot the Ball though.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, listen, I think we'll wrap that up for tonight. So listen, thank you, Graham, very much once again for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Been good fun, very interesting.
Yeah, listen, I would say
can't beat a bit of nerdy football chat.
No, you certainly love it, and we're all the same as well. But yeah, listen, all the best with certainly with the gigs and everything that's coming up with that, and I'll definitely I'll be really annoying you when it comes to the Leeds one, because I will.
Just
I'll be.
drop us a line. Are you Simon and Tommy? Are you based in Glasgow?
Glasgow.
Yeah.
I can go to the
WG3, yeah.
yeah.
I'll go to
Well,
Glasgow.
drop us a line. Andy will give you my email. Drop us a line if you fancy coming to the Scottish gig.
Definitely.
It's on a Thursday in April. Thursday the 13th of April. I think.
Yeah, brilliant.
If you want to come, we'll sort you out both a couple of tickets. Absolutely no problem.
Fantastic.
Love it. Great stuff. We'll do.
And
I might wear the English shirt.
yeah.
I might not.
Yeah. And Simon, good to see you as well, and for Tom, nice to see you as
thanks.
always.
Thanks,
so
Simon. Thanks,
guys.
thank you, and I'll
Cheers,
catch you
Graham.
later on.
Take
Cheers,
care,
mate.
guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
mate. Bye.
Bye.